The unprecedented pace of disruption and uncertainty makes leadership more relevant today than ever before. It is not position or power, but your leadership skills that help you to think in unique, creative ways. When faced with a crisis, a leader is forced to think and make critical decisions. A leader who empowers a team and gives the employees accountability increases the effectiveness of an organization. John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Warren Bennis says leadership is the capacity to turn vision into reality. And Bill Gates says, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. Today, I have the honor of welcoming Vandana Mohture. Vandana is an accredited coach and associate member of the International Coaching Guild. She is a mindset coach, mentor, facilitator, speaker, and the owner of Mind Art. She is a computer engineer by qualification, having worked with organizations like HSBC and Infosys. As a mindset coach, she works with individuals and groups to tap into the power of their mindset, leading to beautiful possibilities that exist for them. She coaches from a state of curiosity, asking powerful questions that facilitate introspective thinking to create a solution-focused outcome. She plays the role of a coach, mentor, facilitator, and cheerleader, championing people in their journey towards self-love, clarity, inner peace, and fulfillment. Welcome, Vandana.
Thank you so much, Sajeev. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'd like to start by asking you, what do you think are 3 traits that a leader should have to thrive in a disruptive economy?
To me, the most important trait is that of trustworthiness. I think our leader needs to be trustworthy and one who is able to demonstrate high resilience in the face of adversity. And I firmly believe that one who trusts oneself is better able to trust others. So it's very important that, especially so during the time of crisis, that leaders are able to put their trust and belief in their team. And together they can achieve much more and get through this crisis in a better shape. So trustworthiness is key. Second trait would that be of empathy. An empathetic leader is able to understand the needs of others, and again, during the time of crisis, we need to be able to support each other. So it's very important that they have that deep connection where you provide your team that space to open up and share, and be able to be willing and able to understand what they're going through, and then support them through it. So empathy is key as well. And another key trait would be that of adaptability. A good leader always embraces uncertainty, and this time has brought in so much of uncertainty for us. So being able to adapt and still being curious and inquisitive about how you can still work together and achieve different ways of achieving the end goal. So bringing in that stability for them is key as well. So I think those are the top 3 traits.
3 interesting points you brought out: trustworthiness, resilience, empathy, and adaptability. Yeah. Coming to tackling a crisis, how do you think a leader should respond in times of a crisis, and what are some steps that he should take?
Sure. I think it's very important that a crisis usually brings a lot of chaos and confusion. So I look at a leader to bring in the certainty and stability. Nobody really knows how things are going to unfold. But it's very important, along with effective communication, that the leader is able to communicate clearly that what the next steps are going to be. So being able to understand what his audience or her audience, what are the questions of the audience, and catering to those questions with accurate information is key. So, really showing up, being there for them, and communicating effectively. As Tony Robbins says, that the quality of your life is the quality of your communication. and more so in times as such. So it's very important that is, clearly communicating and bringing in the certainty and stability for the team. And I think another core need is to be connected to your, still being able to connect to your bigger purpose, your why, as Simon Sinek says, start with your why. So you should not lose sight of what your end goal is, but come up with interesting and creative ways to meet the same end goal in the current context. So that's another uh, key trait that a leader needs to display in times of crisis.
Coming to taking care of your team, how do you keep your team motivated and connected? And what support can you offer them in times like this?
Um, I think it's this, we are all humans are emotional beings, we're driven by our emotions. So it's very important to create that safe space where your team is able to express themselves. And being a leader, you are able to validate their emotions. So it's very important that a leader is also vulnerable, so that you lead by example. When you are vulnerable, you allow them and inspire them to be so as well. And that gives you also a way to create on a much more deeper level and share a bit better rapport with each other. And and then collectively uh, combine all your skills together and your strengths together to achieve the outcome. So it's very important to be able to give that emotional space is one thing. And to keep motivated, I feel motivation, I mean, I have no, like, I don't have any other second guessing there. Motivation comes from purpose. So as far as you're, reminding yourself and your team of your core values and your mission and your vision, and aligning all of them together to the common purpose keeps them motivated. So it should not look at the crisis as a crisis. It is what it is. But how we can look at it as an opportunity and create much more possibilities together would be the way to go. Yeah.
If you look at your career, what do you think is one big challenge that you have faced as a project manager or as a leader?
Yeah, it's bringing a big smile on my face because it was a challenging time. So um, it was my first. It was my first project in the US, and I was in a new location. I was managing a new team and a new client. So a lot of uncertainty there. Like everything was new, so no rapport whatsoever with either side of the party. And it was a firefighting project, like a red zone. So that's when I truly realized that having the core values of showing respect and empathizing and understanding what the client is what place the client is coming from and what place your team's coming from, and being able to respond with utmost authenticity and grace had much more influence than your actual skills of project management. So it was taking time to get to know each other, and then creating an ecosystem or a space where the team members let their light shine, and you are just working in the backdrop and creating that space for them where they're able to utilize their own strengths and are getting validation and recognition for it. So I think that worked wonders. So it was a challenging time in the beginning. It was all up in the air, but as the team got together and formed deeper connections, it was much more collaborative, and we were able to achieve the goal. And we got client great feedback from the client and appreciation from awards and recognition for the project team as well. So it was challenging, but brought in such beautiful learnings along with it. Yeah.
Today, we are moving from face-to-face meetings and co-localization to something like we are having now, Zoom, Skype calls, and WhatsApp and others. So how do you lead effectively in such a virtual workspace?
Essentially nothing really changes, but it's again, as it is for all the meetings, I think it's very important that we set the clear guidelines, like what is expected from the team members in the meeting, and also what is an expected outcome of the meeting. So it's very important that the communication is clear and precise, and I think this is the only way now people are interacting. So it's very important to keep it interactive and engaging. so that they don't lose interest. People are involved. So we have to create, again, that space where we ask those kind of questions and evoke those responses from people. And also, I feel that this is a time that we're going through also needs relevant education. So it's a good platform to continuously keep them educated and giving them that space to learn and grow. So I think that's how it's been working so far for me.
So many companies at the beginning of this year were taken aback when this COVID-19 pandemic struck. So how do you actually preempt such a risk and factor it into your risk management plans?
A risk as such, I don't think there's any way we can completely preempt it, but because the chances of something like this happening are so low. What I essentially feel that this time has brought in front of all of us is that we need to focus put much more focus on people than the infrastructure. I think the earlier business continuity and risk management would always focus on localized context, how to deal with, say, a fire or say earthquakes or hurricanes and things like that. But it's very important now that we focus more on how to keep people safe, how to ensure that they're able to be able to work in a sustained crisis, and also providing considering leaves, taking care of your leave management policy and absenteeism and things like that, because it's I think we need to be basically taking and paying much more attention to human factor as opposed to infrastructure is what when it comes to risk management. And also, I think also anything that can get impacted, like supply chain management as well, because all of those things got stalled. So yeah, I think we have tons of learning from the crisis here.
If you look at the future, what do you see the future for project managers?
I think it's bright. I certainly feel it's bright because this is once in a lifetime opportunity, right? How many people are going to say that they went through a crisis as such? It comes once in 100 years. At least that's what we've learned from history. So how I'm looking at it is that we really got a chance to apply what we've learned. So, and we all know that we learn more from experience than just reading something. So I think this has brought forward that how important it is to be connected with your team, to have that rapport and to go beyond the traditional project management skills, just the, so I think it's definitely brought about a lot of growth and focus areas for project managers and new way of managing. So definitely I feel it's much more bright and quite a growing experience through what we went through. Yeah.
Finally, we come to the last question for you. It's do you have any words of advice for youngsters who wish to take up a leadership role or as a project manager?
The famous quotes by James Fumes comes to my mind, which says that the art of communication is the language of leadership. So it's very, very important that we develop our communication skills, communicating effectively, accurately, and also the active listening skills. So being there for your team, really being there in present, and being able to communicate and gather much more information than, just the words, reading the body language and really be able to understand and respond to the team the way they need you is key. And what I've learned that you're able to gain more influence as a leader when you're generous. So give wholeheartedly, give value, give empathy, give feedback, give compliments, give recognition. Whatever you give, people remember you for what you did for them, and people remember you for who you were being when you were with them. So yeah, that's probably the key takeaway for me, which I would like to share with everyone. Yeah.
Vandana, thank you so much for sharing those invaluable insights on all those questions that I posed to you. It was such a pleasure listening to you. And I'm sure those who listen to this video will benefit from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sajeev, for giving me this opportunity. I look forward to working with you in future.